From the cutting edge of anomaly research, you are about to experience The Evidence with your host, 3D pioneer and image analyst with Mars X3D, D.W. Gannett.
Well, hi there, and welcome to episode 135 of The Evidence. This is your buddy Dave over at Mars X3D. And you know, I'm still getting questions from people. How do I get 3D? Despite the fact that I put a printed indication on the screen like this, which points down to the description, which has a link to our howdy and how-to video there, where most people with normal vision can learn X3D viewing in a couple of minutes. If you're in a big hurry, start at the 2-minute mark. If you're even in a bigger hurry than that, well, just put yourself a foot and a half, 2 feet from your monitor, very gently cross your eyes until the fusion dots, those little white dots at the top of each image, till those fusion dots come together. The picture in the middle is in 3D. And I'm proud to say we have closing in on 3,000 proud weirdos who've learned to do this and who actively join us in 3D on the surface of Mars in each episode. We have some exciting things to cover this week, including what might be a footprint from my friend Maria Coelho, and of course a lot of other things as well. So let's go ahead and get right into it. I was poking around in Nev's great GMAC of 3454, and I stumbled across some interesting strangeness that I wanted to share with you, even with those of you who aren't proud weirdos just yet. And by the way, just a reminder, there's a bunch of live links down below, so you can go right to the original images if you wish. Here we go. I'd sure like to know how this one came about. Those two identical holes, how in blazes did they form? Are they eyes on a statue? Nostrils, maybe? It kind of reminds me of a guy in a KKK hood, but, you know, since that's not politically correct to even mention nowadays, I'll refrain from saying it. The thing is, look on the left side. See that arch? And how about those 3 balls bisecting it at a perfect 90-degree angle? Naturally, that's all just coincidence. So let's move on. It's hard not to think that these might be wheels connected by an axle. We've found pretty convincing wheels before, like these classic wheels found years ago by my friend Thomas Mikey Schroeder Jensen. And by the way, there's a link down below for SpaceLink TV, his channel on YouTube you'll want to check out, and a link to his his Facebook page, Mars, Moon, Space. So definitely check those out. And here's a wheel found by elite researcher Rami Bar-Ilan. But you know, this one, well, it might just be a handy arrangement of rocks and light and shadow. So let's keep rolling. This one jumped out at me because it has all the characteristics of an ancient mechanism. For example, this perfectly rectangular block with a round center that has radial arms. Or how about this perfectly rectangular block right in front of it? Enough right angles for you? And how can we ignore this nice little S-curve on the end? This is another case where, despite the magnification making an already degraded image even more blurry, the mathematics cut right through the fuzz and show us intelligent agency at work. Okay, the one in front, is that ancient carving or simply erosion? But look at the one in back, which, by the way, is what we call an erratic, a stone that is completely out of geological context. Notice how the back part of it is a perfect cube. And notice how that perfect rectangular piece juts out from the main cube. And don't miss those nice parallel striations on the left side, complete with perfect symmetry, 90-degree angles, and that nice, even lip running all around them. Artificial? You bet. And finally, this beautiful triangle way off in the distance with highly unusual openings. I'm going to hedge my bets and call this an oogie, an object of geological interest. But like most oogies, it sure is suspicious. This one is really compelling to me. My friend Maria Conceição Coelho shared this one the other day, and I gotta say, it pulled me up short. There may be a perfectly rational explanation for how this triangular boot print was formed, and I'm wide open to suggestions if you've got them. As far as I know, there's nothing on the rover that had caused this, and if there is, then this is the first time I've seen any sign of it in 10 years worth of images. Those ridges remind me of Neil Armstrong's boot print on the moon, but it's totally the wrong shape. And before we leave this one, in this blow-up you can see that little squiggle that looks like, kind of like the letter E, right where the toe would be. Now, was this formed as part of the print, or was this already there, or did whatever this is step on a tiny critter? Well, we'll never know, but I thought that was kind of interesting. We looked at something a moment ago that was kind of between old-fashioned erosion and possible writing. Here's another one I came across in Nev's GMAC of 3456, but this time it's a lot more clear. This is interesting to me for a couple of reasons. That so-called writing lies within clearly parallel lines, just like we see in so many ancient carvings here on Earth. The figures within it, while still too blurry to make a clean call, certainly have forms and shapes which might possibly be informational in nature. But look how that kind of ear sticks out in front on the right side. I can't help wondering, if this is just erosion, how did that ear stay in place and not break off? The stone itself is roughly cubical and badly battered. But what intrigues me is that arch on the top right. It's so symmetrical that it's hard to simply assign this one to chance. If there's one thing that typifies Percy's mission so far, it's shaped blocks. I'm convinced Jezero Crater is where the ruins of a city washed up, or down, as the case may be. We're interested in that triangular block up there at the top. First of all, seriously, NASA? This is the best resolution you can achieve with 4K cameras and something not more than 20 or maybe 30 feet from the rover? Personally, I think this particular object has been blurred and obfuscated, but even with NASA's tampering, the math still shines through, doesn't it? We have a beautifully trapezoidal block made of the ubiquitous Martian bluestone. For my Iowa friends, that means them bluestones they's everywhere. Look at the features on the right side. Is it hollow? Or is that just darker material? Hard to tell with all the smudging going on. Nevertheless, I believe this to be an artifact based upon the non-fractal angles involved. I swear, if they'd just stick a cell phone on the rover, it'd give us better pictures than this. Here's an old find of mine where I went back and redid the 3D processing. Even in this context view, you can see what looks like a cave off in the distance. Now, bear in mind that this is Curiosity's left mass cam. It's low res, and when we zoom in, it's going to get pretty blurry. But if you're a true, proud weirdo, the 3D will pop for you, and there should be no problem. As we get closer, the structural aspects begin to get more clear. I wanted you to have a look at this medium distance image before we zoom all the way in and do the 10th shot of tequila blur. I'm going to give you a few seconds to acclimate to the blurriness and also maybe pick out for yourselves what's strange here before I spoon feed it to you. Okay, bibs on, and here comes the spoon. First, we have two clear openings into the cliff, or at least they appear to be openings. The one on the right has what looks like a hollow square in front of the opening. The one on the left, well, those could be just shadows from projecting rocks on the cliff face, but it's also possible that's another cave opening. To the top right of the main cave, we discover a square tower which appears to have a recessed side facing us. And to the right of that, something that appears to be the facade of a building, complete with a dome on top. Its color is certainly different from the surrounding material. Far off in the distance, what might be a step pyramid on the right. See the square shapes of light and shadow? Then, on the left, what appears to be a flat-roofed building with square openings. I realize that for most people these things aren't readily apparent, but when your eyes become trained to non-fractal geometry, and by the way, that's what I'm trying to do with this channel, is train people to see this way, well, suddenly stuff starts popping out all over. This next one, though, doesn't take any special abilities to see. How about that huge, gorgeous pyramid off there in the distance? Let's go over there and take a look. Isn't that beautiful? As you look around with an archaeologist's eye, you can see that the surrounding plain is littered with artifacts and structures. It'll be an absolute treasure trove for the first exoarchaeologists to dig there. This pyramid reminds me of the Pyramid of the Sun at Teotihuacan down in Mexico. They both have that mass and the central structure on one face. And by the way, I climbed the Pyramid of the Sun back in the day. I'd probably throw up my heart if I tried it nowadays. Well, thanks for stopping by today. You know, if you saw something you liked, please consider giving this video a thumbs up. It really, really helps the channel out, especially as small as we are. For all our supporters out there who have joined and become Proud Weirdos First Class, thank you so very much. Hey, click that join button. No obligation. You'll see how inexpensive it is to be part of this entire ongoing research project. You got something you want to share with me? Use the email down below. And for all you proud weirdos out there, you know who you are. Stay safe and stay weird. This is your buddy Dave over at Mars X3D. Be well.